Hey, how can you audit your sales team this week to potentially actually double your sales? And it's not gonna have anything to do with increasing your marketing or ad spend, swapping out talent necessarily. This is just a simple audit, and it's an audit that I've used dozens and dozens of times to help other sales teams and companies grow in revenue and in profits. And I'm gonna walk you through this entire audit process. You can use this audit this week on your sales team. And if it helps, I want you to let me know because I need your validation in order to sleep tonight. So let's dive right into it. Again, just so you know who I am, my name's Taylor. I've been in the sales space for 12 plus years, but you don't really care about me. Let's just get into the audit itself. So how can you audit your team? It's very, very simple. The first thing that you actually can do, I call it the secret agent. And essentially what you need to do is have somebody, and you need to use obviously a fake name here, is you need to book into your sales process like a lead or a prospect and go through the whole cycle if you can. So what you're literally gonna do is, if you do it through ads or whatever, you're gonna book into the calendar and you're going to see how quickly does your team reach out to you and confirm the appointment. Are you getting the right automations, and are you getting them in the right sequence in terms of the reminders, marketing material that's gonna lead you up to the sales call, all that kind of stuff. In terms of the structure, like what you've set up, is that actually happening? And are your sales guys saying what they're supposed to say? From booking the appointment, are they confirming it correctly when they start the call? If it's a 1 or 2 call close, are they using the sales process? Are they following the script? If you give them objections or you act like a certain type of lead or prospect, are they handling the objections the way that you've trained them to do it? Like, are they actually going through the steps? And maybe if you opt in and become a lead, how quickly are you called by the setter team or by the sales team? How many times are you contacted if you don't book in? So you see, you actually want to be a secret agent. You want to book through your sales process and see what is it going to feel like, the leads that are going through your system, your sales system, what does it feel like to go through it? And is it functioning the way that you want it to? And this always is a huge eye opener for sales teams, because they're like, oh yeah, this is our process. Here's what the guys say, here's what they do. And then we go through it, and that's not what their salespeople do. So first and very easy thing you can do is be a secret agent, go through the process. Number 2, you need to check the leaks. Now, there's very common leaks that almost every sales team has, and hopefully whether you have a rev ops person or your sales director has a very good pulse on your KPIs and on your data in terms of week to date, month to date data. You should easily be able to find this data. And if you can't, there's a leak right there. You need to be able to track your stuff. But let's look at some of the main leaks that I see. First is your contact attempts. And that's basically how many contact attempts does a lead get when it first comes into your guys' environment. You might do cold outbound, you might do inbound, but when the lead comes in, how many times is that lead contacted, right? And ideally, you want 10 plus attempts in the first 5 days. And I will say, if you look into your CRM and you look at the average number of contact attempts per lead, you might be sad. Boo. Right? You might only see that there's 1, 2, or 3 attempts, and then this lead just goes dormant, right? It goes to die. And that is lost revenue, because people are busy nowadays, and you're in a space where we've got so much noise. There's so many darn ads. The algorithm works this way too. Someone clicks on your ad, comes into your funnel, they're now clicking on other ads, similar ads. And now they're actually talking with your competitors, and they're seeing your competitors. So it's important that you guys are contacting, and I know that AI and automation, obviously we live in a world where we should be leveraging that, but you can't just rely on your automated text and email. Like, you need your sales guys calling and sending personalized manual text messages, personalized customized emails. You need to be attempting to contact your people, ideally on the phone. So you should be seeing 10 plus contact attempts. If you're seeing less than that, that's a huge leak. And I'm gonna show you how you can double your sales by going through this process. Next is your show rate. The system that you have set up, you've got your automations, and then you have your manual, like your customizations. So your automations are like the immediate email confirmation, SMS confirmation, etc., your reminders leading up to the appointment. Your manuals are if a setter sets the call, there should be either a really warm handoff or an immediate, just like speed to lead when a new lead comes in, speed to appointment when a new appointment comes in, and then the closer's confirming this appointment manually as well. And that is going to increase your show rate. But let's say your show rate 50% right now. Well, if you get this to 70%, that's a 20% lift. But 20% of 50% is just about 40 to 45% increase. This is not a 20% increase. This is a 40 to 45% increase. That is getting us really close to that double. If you contact your leads only 5 times and you get it up to 10 times, that's a double. You're probably going to book more appointments now, which means more opportunities, which means more offers, which means more sales. So already in the first 2, if you do these 2 things, you're doubling your sales already, okay? Or you're getting close there. Then the obvious, your conversion rate. 35% is the ideal, and that's because if it's so high, you might be underpriced. You should be charging more. If it's so low, you might be overpriced and your sales guys might suck. Like, they don't know how to present well, they don't know how to do proper discovery, they don't know how to handle objections, whatever it may be. Your conversion needs to be close to 35%. So if you're currently at 15%, and you get to 30%, that's 100% increase, right? Because you're adding 15%, 15 to 30. But if you're at 15% and you go to 30%, it's 100% increase, which means you would double the amount of sales you would have. That is another double. So you can see how these leaky buckets, they start to compound. Even if you're getting 20% lifts in each bucket, then you've got your sales cycle. And this is a pretty simple math equation. If you got 30 sales last month and sale 1, the number of days between becoming a lead and a sale was 15 days, and lead number 2 was 10 days, and lead number 3 was 30 days, and and so on and so forth. You add up all the days for the 30 sales, divide it by 30, and that's your average sales cycle from last month. So if your sales cycle right now, it's 30 days, but you drop that down to 20 days, and that's because, again, you're maybe able to update the process with marketing, warm-up content, having a better process for booking. If you do a 2-call close, booking the follow-up within 1 to 2 days, tying down the appointment at the end of the first call, etc. There's things you could do. Dropping this, that's a 10-day decrease, which 10 of 30 days is a 33% increase. So you'd increase revenue by 33% because you're making sales faster. So in a 30-day calendar period, if you're making more sales faster and a third less time, you're gonna make more sales and have more revenue. So that is another leak that you can fix. And then the last one I would probably look at is the number of referrals. Are your guys asking for referrals? And if they're not asking for referrals, I have noticed for myself, you kind of get like a giant referrer, right? Meaning you might ask 30 people that you close if they know people that need help with this thing. And you might have 25 say no, and you might have 2 say yes, but one of those 2, so one of the 30 is gonna be a giant referrer, and meaning they're gonna send you a bunch of referrals. And having your sales guys trained to just ask for referrals at the point of close is going to help you make more sales and not spend more money to make those sales, because those are easier sales to make because they're more warm. They already trust your system because someone they know has now signed up for it. They're going to be singing your praises already because they like what they saw. You can also have activation points where you ask for referrals at the sale as an activation point, at onboarding as an activation point, and as the first point of value. So like if it takes 15 days, 30 days, 45 days to get their first point of value within your program, asking for the referral at that activation point as well. And so asking for referrals at different activation points is going to help you make more sales, and you need to be auditing to see if your guys are actually doing this. Let's talk about the third and the last one, which is probably the most important. I call this the culture check, but essentially a sales audit here would look like you interview, and it's a 20 or 30 minute interview with each of your sales guys. And you sit down and you have a nice little come to Jesus, like, hey, how are you doing? How are you doing mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically? How are you feeling about the product that you're selling, right? Do you have conviction there? Like, do you believe in it? You might need to have some questions to see if that's there. How are you feeling about leadership, right? Am I doing a good job leading you? Am I supporting you the right way? Am I training you correctly? Am I holding you accountable? Am I being too hard? Am I being too soft, right? Like, how am I leading you? And then what is your goal? What's the big win in your life, and how is working here and doing the sales role helping you get to that win? And do I have a system in place that's helping you get to that goal, so that way we're in alignment? And so having that sort of conversation is going to help you identify if you've got people that are on the team that are not right for the bus anymore. You also might want to ask, hey, is there anybody on the team that you're having any issues with? And then if there's some gossip or some some guys knocking heads with each other, or there's some bitterness between people, you'll also find that out. Because if people hate where they work, and they're having anxiety about people they're working with, do you think they're gonna close super well? Probably not. And so having a culture check with your sales team and just doing a quick 20-minute one-on-one with each of the guys and having that sequence of questions, that's going to help you identify if there's some culture issues on the team. Because it's kind of like, I always think of Remember the Titans, right? Like, they had all the best players. They had really good key individual players. But if they're not working together as a team, and they're not operating in real brotherhood, and they actually care about one another, and they have the same goal that they're all working towards, they're not going to do well. And so part of the coach in Remember the Titans, in bringing them to the camp and uniting them regardless of race, color, and stuff, right, that really got them to know, like, and trust one another, right? Bunking up the guys who hate each other, forcing them to learn about one another. That sort of culture can take even B-level players and turn them into an A-level team, and it's because the culture is good. Now, if you're a sucky leader, like I've been in the past, it's gonna be tough to shift your culture, because culture is gonna be top down. So check yourself, right? Like, are you operating at the highest level? Do you believe and have conviction in the product or the program you're selling? Are you leading yourself well? Because if you're not leading yourself well, mentally, physically, emotionally, you're not gonna be able to lead your team well. And so these are the 3 things. You can audit your team just like this week. If you want us to do an audit, happy to do so. We help grow teams with systems, with talent, and with training. So you can click one of the links in the description. But if this was helpful, I wanna know, do this audit on your team this week. Go through these steps and watch your sales grow. And if you want to get other content on how to recruit, how to train, all that kind of stuff, you can click one of the videos up here, or to the side panel, or you can subscribe, check out the other videos on the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.